what were the, once actors got into system, like what were they actually doing? The number one thing that we saw accounting for like almost half of our cases was email compromise. And this would be things like what we would call business email compromise. So, getting access into an email inbox for some kind of fraud transaction. And this would also include, when maybe a firm identified a phishing email before it led to something else. So they know that there was some kind of access into the email inbox, but it didn't actually progress to a fraudulent transaction or some kind of malware deployment. Next, we were seeing ransomware followed by insider threat, which increased a little year over year. Now, I want to talk next about initial access methods. So how were actors getting in to systems? Now, being that, most of our cases were email compromise, it tracks that phishing would be the top initial access method. But I kind of want you to pay attention to the first 4 bars here on this graph. So we have phishing, valid account, social engineering, and external remote services. And these 4 things are so closely linked. It's, really kind of highlights, especially that valid account ones, how actors are going after credentials. So identity access management is very, very important for organizations, because what actors are doing is they might, send the phishing email, try to steal the credentials, then they're going to come back, use those valid credentials, and a lot of times what they'll do is they'll come in now through the external remote services such as a VPN. And we've also seen actors using social engineering to actually prime users to give up their credentials. George, did you want to talk a little bit more about what you saw with CVEs for initial access?
Yeah, absolutely. We sort of touched on it earlier as a major theme last year. I think one of the things that is really borne out from this is the speed of which threat actors are able to exploit end-day vulnerabilities. Of course, zero-day vulnerabilities are a category all of their own, but it really does highlight the need to be able to patch very, very rapidly. I'll use the case of Screen Connect again, because we did so much work with that. You basically had 24 to 48 hours to patch that particular vulnerability before opportunistic exploitation really commenced, mass opportunistic exploitation. So I think that is one of the things to focus on, obviously alongside the identity and access management in 2025, is get your playbooks ready, get your incident response plan ready for dealing with these vulnerabilities, and consider the hard questions. Do we take that service offline for a couple of days? How critical is that to the business? All of those things are very important questions to ask yourselves, I think.
Yeah, and the Screen Connect one was interesting because, like you said, a lot of activity was happening within like about 48 hours of that being published. And we saw everything from nation state actors to your, very large ransomware as a service operations using that. And then kind of on the, long tail of that, we saw more like lone wolf actors using that. So that was really interesting case study there for CVEs.